Billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I greet you, my brothers and sisters, with the noble and universal greeting of peace, the greeting that has been used by the prophets and messengers of our universal creator, Almighty Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukr to Allah that I'm alive and I'm well, I'm healthy and guided by Him, and I'm on the path, and that from week to week I grow in spiritual strength, which is extremely valuable to me. Spiritual strength is about security. Spiritual strength is about feeling good with our Creator. It's drawing closer to Allah. It's experiencing assurance in our hearts. So this is a true treasure, of all the things that you can have in the world. The one thing that is not a thing but is a state of taqwa. It's a state of intensified iman. It's a state of certainty. It's a state of God consciousness. And that state, based in Tawheed, is truly what success is really about. I mean, you can have all kinds of things in the world, like the non-believers can have all kinds of things in the world. But one thing the non-believer is not going to have is Tawheed, Iman, Yaqeen, that state of security. So I'm grateful to Allah who has given us guidance that we were in darkness, and the experience of insecurity in that darkness, that fear, that worry, that guilt, that anger, that shame, that diseased heart state, that as the years go by and I continue to persevere, it just gets easier and easier to feel more and more secure. In the beginning, it's very challenging, I must tell you. When somebody tells you about guidance and you're like, what is all this about? And you're trying to figure this out. But once you understand the path and you commit to the path and you move along the path, things get easier and easier and easier and easier, and eventually they become effortless. It's anything in life. Anything in life you tried for the first time. You want to ride a bicycle, you fall off. Then you realize, hey, you need training wheels or some kind of support here. And then it's in the beginning you'll ride a few pedals and then you'll fall off, or you'll fit and start, move in, stops and starts and all that. And eventually, you're moving, you're flying on that bike, and you next thing you know, maybe if it's a different kind of a bike, you're popping a wheelie, or you're leaving the handlebars and you are moving on that bike. So anything in life, it's like that. When you try something for the first time, you'll be like, it's too much, it's too painful, it's not worth it, it's uncomfortable. So getting onto the path was uncomfortable, but not as uncomfortable as it was for me to be not on the path. So in these particular series of lectures, I'm sharing with you my story, my adventure of how guidance came to me and how I accepted guidance and how I became aware of the path and how I've been stepping on the path and where I am along the way. So, now I can leave the handlebars, and ride without holding the handlebars. But it wasn't always like that. Soon I'll be popping wheelies, on the bicycle, really doing stunts and ramps and all that, spiritual stunts and ramps and all sorts of fun stuff. But in the beginning, you don't start there. Nobody can pick up their hand and say, God, answer my prayers. Because I just asked you to answer my prayers. You have to develop your spiritual stamina. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said that the dua is the weapon of the believer, not of the one who submits in faith, not of the one who submits in religion, but the true believer. You get what I mean? So, the real dua has to come from iman. And the more yaqeen and taqwa you have, the easier it is to make dua and to have your duas answered, I'm speaking as somebody who is speaking from experience. This is something I know, compared to something I know about. In life, a lot of people think they know a lot of things, because they know about a lot of things, but they don't know the thing itself. You get what I mean? So somebody might say, I know about riding a bike. I've seen people jumping on a bike, and I've seen people riding bikes, so I know about riding a bike. Imagine if somebody says, I'm going to write a book about riding a bike, but they've never ridden a bike. They don't know about, they don't know how to actually ride a bike. They've never ridden a bike. So they know about riding a bike because they might have seen somebody else do it, somebody might have said something to them. They say, yeah, no, I know about it. But knowing riding the bike, is a different story. So people might say, I know about Islam, I know about Iman, I know about Allah, I know about the Prophet, I know about, because they've heard things. I know about dua, and they might have heard things, and they might be telling you things because of they heard. Their teachers told them, and they're telling you. But they might not know the truth of it. What is really Iman all about? They might not be experiencing Iman. Somebody might say, let me tell you about Iman. That doesn't mean you know or have Iman. You know about Iman. You might think you have Iman because you know about Iman, but you don't know Iman, so you don't have Iman because you just think you have Iman. You get what I mean? So you might think about riding a bike, and other people might have told you, so you might know about it, but you might not know it itself. The riding of the bike, you might not know. Making dua is like that. You might think you know what making dua is. Somebody told you what it is, but you might not know making dua because you don't know spiritual matters. That's what the Quran says. Don't say you're a believer, for faith has not entered into your heart. Rather say you are one who's submissive in religion, for faith has not entered into your heart. You are not one whose faith entered. So I'm just telling you about my story, and how it was so uncomfortable. I hit rock bottom, and we have this problem in our life we feel is insurmountable. And instead of saying to Allah, please fix it, or please get me out of it, I realized that, if you fail to remember Allah, yours will be a depressed life. And what I was living was the effect of my failing to remember Allah. I recognized that. I recognized there's something I don't know. I know I don't know. In another sense, I became humble. When there was a problem in my life that felt really the worst problem at that time in my life, as a younger man that I was, in 95, 96, taking us back almost 30 years ago, I didn't say, Allah, why did you do this to me? Allah, you could have saved me, but you didn't save me. Allah, you let me down. Allah, are you testing me? Allah, is this a punishment? Allah, please help me. And Allah, I'm asking you to help me. You're not helping me. And why are you not helping me? Fortunately, I didn't go down that narrative with that mentality. I realized that I was the problem. I didn't have faith in my heart. I realized that there was something I wasn't aware of. I wasn't in the knowing of. I knew about Islam. I knew about thinking that if you said your kalima, you got Iman. I knew about these things, but I didn't know. Actually, I thought I knew the remembrance of Allah was move beads and just say the names of Allah, or, just do these things and say these things. I thought that was zikrullah. I didn't know actually the remembrance of Allah. I didn't know the message of the Quran. I thought I knew about it. It's, over a period of 23 years, it was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad through the agency of Jibreel alayhi salam. It's a book, and it's a guidance for human beings, and it tells you about this. But I didn't know the Quran. I didn't know the Quran. There's a lot of people who know about the Quran, but they don't know the Quran. There's a lot of people who read the Quran, but they don't understand the Quran. They're not benefiting from it. It says it's a healing of the diseases of the hearts of humanity. You get what I mean? It's a medicine, it's a healing. And I experience it that way. Those people who experience the Quran as a healing, as a guidance, they are knowing the Quran. Other people know about it, they might read from it, but they are not aware. They don't know its message. So, when I hit rock bottom, and I felt almost suicidal, and, it felt bad. I didn't say, oh no, what am I going to do? Help me, God, I'm desperate. Because that's what most people do. Why am I here? Why is this happening? come on, help me, somebody save me, I'm against where I am. Why is this happening? This shouldn't be happening. Fix it, God, fix it, God. You know what I mean? Fix it for me, fix it for somebody else. This is what people do when they are unenlightened, when they don't know that they are not in knowing. You get what I mean? When they think they know about something, but they don't know that they have no knowing of it. People might know about something, but they have no knowing of it. You get what I mean? This is what happened. This is what went real life story here. I'm telling you that I could have been like all the other people in a self-created situation. When you fail to remember Allah, yours will be a depressed life. So it was depressed. It was very depressing. It was very uncomfortable. But instead of looking for safety, relief and excitement, like, come on, get it to change. I'll get it to change. Somebody will get it to, God, you get it to change. Change it, change it. Instead of being so focused on the created world and my current experience in the created world, it struck me. Turn to Allah. It's like Allah was saying, I'm right here. Why aren't you turning to me? And so a lot of people think they turn to Allah because they say, please change it. Please change me. I can get you to change it. I promise I'll fast. I promise I won't be bad anymore. I'll do whatever. I'm in need. I'm needy. Change it. Change it. You know, a lot of people are there and they think they are believers. They say they believe in Allah in the last day, but they don't. They lie to themselves thinking they lie to Allah. In their hearts is a disease. That disease is expanded. And they are left to stray. You know, it just got further and further along the way. Now, I could have been there, thinking I believe, and carrying on with a diseased heart, and experiencing the reflection of my diseased heart, and astray, and being further and further astray. But I humbled myself, shukr to Allah. I said, there must be something I don't know. There must be something I don't know. Because most people think they already know about something, so they know it. They already know, it's not them. They had nothing to do with it. It's somebody else. They think they know. It's called arrogance. When you don't want to learn, it's called arrogance. And the Quran is all about learning. And guidance is all about learning. It's not about just saying something you don't understand. It's not about just rituals and doctrines and all that. That's religions in general are like that. The Quran is about remembering Allah. Look around, go out and see. Recognize, become aware. The Quran is all about becoming aware of truth. Becoming aware of truth. Get what I'm saying? Anyway, I humbled myself. This is the first and most important thing on the path. That I take responsibility. There must be something I'm not aware of. No. I didn't know I was unaware of Allah. You understand? I thought, and remember I told you, we know about something, so we think we know it. So I knew about Allah, so I thought I knew Allah. But actually I didn't. Now I was clueless. I didn't even know Tawheed. I knew about Tawheed, but I didn't experience Tawheed. You know, I knew nothing. I was lost. I didn't know I was just as lost as everybody, around me. I thought some of them knew, the guru and the pandit, just as clueless as me. They know about things, but they don't know the things. And so I humbled myself. And I said, Allah, if you are here, I'd like to be shown. Show me. What's going on here? Why is this happening to me? You know, why am I in this miserable situation? And my life has been miserable for a long time. And now this. Why? And in that moment, I let go of my mind, and this shouldn't be, and it should be like that, and somebody must be different, and I must be different, and somebody must make somebody be different, and God must be different, and He must behave differently, and do things He didn't do before, and I must be different. This is the trance. You see, most people don't realize that when human beings are unaware of Allah, and they're not in a state of Tawheed, when they're not real believers, they are in a trance. We make the world real. We make the world absolutely real, if you want to say that. We make the world primary. Instead of the creator of the world being real and absolutely real, we make the world real. We make our current situation of life the primary focal point, that our attention is for what's happening now. In the meantime, I didn't know. My attention, exclusive attention, is for Allah. I didn't know what that meant. Strong feeling is for Allah. excessive focus is for Allah. I am not to focus on the created world with exclusive attention, excessive focus and strong feeling. If ever I am in a state of what I would call non-resourcefulness, if ever I am worried and afraid and feeling bad and all that sort of thing, and that is going to create problems for me in my life. If you live insecurely, look, if you live with shame, if you live with guilt, if you live with fear, if you live with anxiety, you're going to create problems for you in your life. You're going to attract low vibration people. You're not going to respect yourself. You're not going to respect your life. You're going to operate with self-disrespect, life disregard. You're going to have other people who disrespect you. You're going to end up in a bad way. You get what I mean? That's what happened with me. Ended up in a bad way because of me being in a state of diseased heart. Everybody is in a state of diseased heart until guidance comes to them. The Quran is a message for humanity to heal the diseases in the heart. The Prophet was the first who received it, and his heart was healed. His heart too was healed. There's, in the Islamic teaching, there's spoken of the Prophet's heart being cleansed. So his heart required cleansing too. He wasn't like, don't worry about me guys, I'm okay, this message is for the rest of you. Allah says in the Quran to the Prophet, ask for forgiveness for yourself. First, tells the Prophet, and then for the forgiveness of the believers. Pray for the forgiveness. So the Prophet received the guidance. He used it. He shared it. He communicated it, the message, to humanity. So, what's my point? My point is, the message is to remember Allah, to bring to Allah a purified heart. And here we are living in this world, forgotten Allah, living in a state of not aware of Tawheed. We're not into the oneness, we're into duality, plurality. We think that this world is real, we think we are real. This is what happened with Adam and Eve. If you go back to the Quran and you read there, Satan says to them, shall I show you a world where you are the ruler? A world that will never perish. That world is a world of delusion. That's a world of failure to remember Allah. And everybody is in that state of failure to remember Allah until guidance comes and then you submit. Even Ibrahim a.s., he looked and looked for answers through his mind, he couldn't find any. And then you read, he realizes the one who created me will guide me. Struck him. He humbled himself. I can't find the answers. Allah will guide me. You get what I mean? So I'm just saying, I was in a situation where I humbled myself. But I don't have the answers. I looked around to me, the people there were clueless, but they thought they knew because they knew about, but they didn't know. And then I realized they were just as clueless as I was, but they were just in a delusion that they think they know about Allah and faith. And so that's when I realized, that's when through this intuition within me, that it's for me to take my attention off the created world and put it onto the Creator. It is for me to take my attention off the current situation and put it on the power of the Creator. That this first step of being humble was the best thing I ever did for me. To humble myself, to recognize I'm in a trance. This is what A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim is. That I claim the refuge with Allah from Satan the accursed. You get what I mean? That it was like by humbling myself, by saying, I know I don't know. Guide me, Allah. I went beyond my thinking and my feeling and how I would have thought and felt from a state of forgetfulness, from a state of being in a trance. And so what happened then was I made this connection. THIS. I made this connection, the connection. That there is for me to focus on. So a lot of people say, yeah, we focus on Allah, we ask Him to help us. No. They focused on the problem and they're trying to get rid of the problem. Get what I mean? They are impatient. Allah is not with the impatient. The Quran tells us Allah is with those who are patient. The Quran says practice patience. So I was in this horrible situation. It felt horrible. It felt like it's better to kill myself. And while I was there, guidance came to me. Because I had the Quran, I knew about the Quran. I didn't know the Quran and its message, but I knew about the Quran and I even had one. And I started saying, Allah, you guide me. I'm turning to the Quran, you guide me. And I told you this in few sessions ago. One day I made my wuzu, I didn't have wuzu, I'm not even sure that's what my state was. I just opened the English Quran, I put my finger somewhere, and it says, surely thou art not one who has gone crazy, not mad. You know what I mean? Because I started thinking, maybe something wrong with me. I'm turning to the Guru and the Pandit. They're giving me all stories about the Quran. They don't know the message. They can't tell me how to proceed in life. I'm in a situation here, I'm feeling suicidal. These chaps can't help me. I'm thinking there must be something wrong with me. You know what I mean? You're a young man at that time, you've been schooled into this cult of Islamism where people don't know Allah, but they think they know Allah. They have beliefs about Allah, but they don't believe in Allah. And I'm like, there must be something wrong with me. I said, Allah, you guide me. I don't know how else to connect with you. I'm connecting to the Quran. So I'm opening the Quran, you guide me. And my finger went on the verse that said, you are not one insane. And I was like, whoa. Thank God Allah is listening to me. This is an answer. If this is not an answer, then what is an answer? Of all the verses in the Quran, I had the question is, am I going crazy, to start looking at the people around me like they don't know? Here these people are, with pomp and ceremony, looking the part, dressing the part, they got their own systems of hierarchy, they are, recognizing each other, and they're against other groups, and they're so organized in their guru systems. I'm like, that can't be, that they don't know. If they knew, why aren't they telling me? I'm asking them, they can't give me answers. I must be mad. I doubted myself. And Allah said, don't doubt you. I'm here for you. And then I knew I'm in. I'll be patient. That Allah is hearing me. I turned to Him, and He's hearing me, and He's guiding me. And I felt a sense of assurance. No matter how bad that situation was, and yes, I felt bad. I didn't feel good. But I felt good about the thing that Allah was there, was listening to me, I was not alone. And something magical was happening. Something really mysterious was happening. Something really miraculous was happening. I was reaching out from a state of humility, and I was being heard, and I was being responded to. And this was like really amazing for me. It was like, wow, woo! You know what I mean? I'm not alone. Something is different now. Things are changing. Yes, I'm looking at my eyes and I can see the same situation, and I'm feeling sorry for myself, and I'm feeling horrible and all that. But at the same time, within my being, there's like something miraculous is happening. Something amazing is happening. Now the Quran says, if you believe in Allah, He will guide your heart. Now, my heart was so impure, I couldn't get the information directly from within my heart. So I turned to the Quran in that particular way. I'm not saying that you should do this, but that's where I was, that's what I could do. And that's what I did, and that's how the guidance started coming from outside. And I would say to every day, I'll say every day, Allah, you show me, teach me. And then I would meet people, and things would happen, and a series of coincidences happened. And then I started realizing I'm being shown something here. I'm being shown something. I've been shown I'm responsible for my experience of life, that my life didn't happen to me, that I've made choices and there are consequences, and such is the will of Allah. For every choice you make, there's a consequence. This is the will of Allah. Everything that happens by the will of Allah. You see, when I was superstitious, I was in that India mentality. And what's the India mentality? Predestination. Everything is predestinate. So it's there in the cult of Islamism that people have this idea that Allah makes things, like He causes you to do the things you do. Now, anybody who is aware knows that there's choice, that means you get to choose. And there's consequence, which when you choose the choice, Allah responds with the consequence. And Allah is fair. Allah will never give you more or less than how you are in the world. And of course, I didn't know at that time, but the law of compassion, that Allah forgives and He removes all sins and no record of it is there. And so this is amazing, this is amazing what I'm learning and all that sort of thing. Anyway, what do I want to tell you today? I want to tell you something today that follows through from last week. Last week I said to you, it's more important that we focus on Allah than we focus on the created world. It's more important that we focus on Allah and what His power, His privileging, His provisioning, what we provided with. Allah's greatness, graciousness, His unconditionally gifting nature, His giving nature, His granting nature. Allah's gifts, it's more important that we focus on that and than the world. And it's more important, I'm not saying no focus on the world, I'm saying it's more important we focus on Allah before we focus on the world and who He is to us and what He has given to us. And our situation in our life that we're dealing with, it's more important that we focus on Allah's sufficiency for us to be there with us, for us, to address the situations we are in. You get what I mean? So a lot of people are like, no, I don't want to become aware of Allah. I'd rather remain in the trance. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir means nothing to them. They just say it. They know about a'udhu, but they don't know the power of a'udhu. They don't know that their minds and their hearts are diseased. They're in a state of forgetfulness. And we must, in those moments, no matter what is going on, especially when we're reacting and being impatient and reactive, and we're trying to control, and we're feeling controlled, and we're trying to get God to control things, and we're trying to control God. In those moments, that is a sign of non-resourcefulness, disconnection from your Creator. That is a sign that, you've forgotten Allah. Because in the remembrance of Allah, hearts find assurance. But I was there, and I knew nothing about the remembrance of Allah. I was Islami out and out, and been brainwashed into being a good follower, and don't use reason, just follow the guru and the pandit and all that sort of, do what they tell you to do, they know they're right. And I was dealing with the effects of my own unconsciousness. If you forget Allah, He forgets you. If you remember Allah, He remembers you. If you forget Allah, yours will be a depressed life. I didn't know I was in a state of forgetfulness. The Prophet was, all the Prophets were. Anybody who had a mother and father, were in a state of forgetfulness. Adam went into the state of forgetfulness, but before that he knew, he was aware. So he knows the difference between before forgetfulness and after forgetfulness. That's why he repented. That's why he was like, what did we do? We went into a delusion. We went into a trance. We forgot Allah. We think we are the gods here. We think this world is real. We're in a trance. You get what I mean? This is why a'udhu. That's why the banner that I teach my Islamic work, my Muslim work on Iman, is called the Believer's Refuge. Almighty Allah, the Believer's Refuge. The refuge. We claim refuge. That we require this refuge from our own minds and our own hearts. Because in these situations we're in, where we feel desperate, including feeling needy on Allah, that's not feeling assured with Allah, feeling needy. In these situations we are impatient, and in these situations feeling this, Satan is there with us because we have forgotten Allah. We're not feeling assured and reassured. We're not remembering Allah. Verily in the remembrance of Allah, hearts experience assurance. You can take your rosary, your tasbih, and move the beads 100 times and say words out of your mouth. You think you know about zikr, but you don't know zikr. You don't know the remembrance of Allah. You're not experiencing the remembrance of Allah. So when I, in that challenging situation, turned to Allah and I started recognizing the signs of His being there and hearing me, because I am now humble and sincere. I'm not just an insincere hypocrite saying, I want you to listen to me to change the situation. Change me, change the way I feel, change the way I behave, change my life. I wasn't desperately resistant and reactive. I wasn't in a powerless state. I was until I realized it's me. I had that sense of reasoning. It must be me. Because I said, why me, Allah? Why is this happening? What's going on here? And that's when I turned to Allah and I believed in Allah, that He can answer my questions. But my heart was still diseased, my mind was still diseased, so I had to get the answers from outside in the world. These days I get the answer from within my heart. Because the heart is not as diseased as it was before. If you believe in Allah, He will guide your heart. Quran says that. So, here I was, humbling myself, which I never did before. Instead of just being this hypocrite, desperate, trying to change the world, trying to feel relief, safety, excitement, trying to control God and all that, I let the feelings be. I let everything be. I was practicing patience. I didn't realize that. I'm looking back and realizing, okay, so what did you do, Ashraf? That worked. You humbled yourself. Okay, that's good. What else? You allowed yourself to feel the way it is. You allowed what was going. You were not impatient. Okay, What was else? You trusted in Allah, that Allah is enough for you, He'll hear you, He'll answer you. I trusted. I said, Allah, tell me, show me. If you are there, by the way, I said, if you are there, I'm not too sure, but if you are there, I'm prepared to listen and see what's my role in this, what's going on in here. Now, this is where I was prepared to take responsibility. See that humility, see that patience, see that willingness to take responsibility. These are the things the hypocrites are not interested in. No humility, no patience, and no willingness to take responsibility. Like, no, I had nothing to do with this. I was willing to take responsibility. And Allah showed me that we had created problems because we've forgotten Him. And we have to remember Him and draw closer to Him. And when we draw closer to Him, our hearts become healed. That this was a journey of healing my heart. It wasn't about my current situation and fixing it. That is a small thing compared to, it's not that it's not important, but there's something more important than that. This is what I focused on last week, that I was guided to realize that the purpose for me being here is to remember Allah. And in remembering Allah, I bring to Allah a purified heart. My heart is purified. I don't create problems for me in this world. And I live and die at a higher level. And I'm raised up at a higher level. And in the hereafter, I'm answerable to Allah for how I lived. This is what it's about. A true believer believes in Allah and the last day. For a true believer, the answer that we have upon our being raised up again is vitally important. My situation that I was dealing with pales by comparison. You see, Allah guided me to recognize that what I'm making so important is important, but not so important. That there is more important. Like, I'm exaggerating the current world. I'm exaggerating my experience in the current world, good or bad. Getting excited, making it so great. Getting disappointed, I'm making it so great. I'm projecting power. I'm attributing significance. I'm exaggerating importance. I'm into suggestions of specialness and seriousness. This world, this is serious and special and all that. That Allah guided me to recognize that I'm here to remember Him, to clear my heart, that I may live and die at a higher level of nur, vibration, to live with Iman, Amal, a life tayyibun, and be raised up again so that I have the answers for Him with light. And when I have the light, the answers with light, I will be taken to the highest levels. There's levels in the afterlife, and the levels that is Jannat, and there is Jannatul Firdaus, Jannatul Naeem. That this world there's a purpose for this world. You get what I mean? Now, some of us are like, I got this money problem. Can you help me with this? Now, Allah is trying to get us to know that what you think is so important is not as important as you think it is. It's important, but not you exaggerating it. Your money situation compared to why you are here, it's not comparable. You get what I mean? That's what I said to you. You're here, you can marry, but you're not here to marry. You're here, you can have children, but you're not here to have children. You're here, you can have a job, but you're not here to have a job. You're here, you can have money, you can build a business, whatever it is, but you're not here to build a business. You're here to remember Allah, to cleanse out the diseases in the heart. You're here to have answers to Allah and move into Jannatul Firdaus. But there are people who say they believe in Allah, they don't believe in Allah. They say they believe in the last day, they don't believe in the last day. Because they don't believe, because you tell them about the last day, yeah, but what about this day? What about today? No, the last day is more important. No, but what about today? You get what I mean? So there's a people who, they're not humble, they're not patient, they're not willing to take responsibility. They're not willing to learn and develop. They want to remain the same in the mindset. They want to have the same thinking. They want to remain, I say, fixed in their mentality. Fixed, rigid in their personality. They don't want to learn, they don't want to grow, they don't want to change. They want to remain the same person, but they want their lives to change, they want everything to be different, and they want Allah to change it, or somebody else to just change. You get what I mean? I wasn't one of those people. I humbled myself. I was patient. I took responsibility. I asked for guidance. I was shown something which is more important than what I was making so important. And I listened. You see, now when you talk to some people and you tell them, what's your problem? They say, I've got money problems, relationship problems, health problems. And I say, let me tell you of something more significant than that. This is not really a problem. They say, what do you mean this is not really a problem? This is really a problem. This is something I should worry about. This is something I should get upset about. I said, hold on. And sometimes people say, but look what's happening in the world. There's war, there's genocide. We should get disturbed about it. Hold on. You see, you can't talk to people. The last time I said this on the radio, the lady said to me, this is your opinion. It's debatable. It's nothing debatable. Allah will show us where we are in error. This is what the Quran says. I can't show you where you are in error, nor must I show you. I have nothing to do with you and you being in error. I have nothing to do with your heart and the state of your heart. I have nothing to do with you cleansing your heart, remembering God or not. Whether you remember God or not, whether you humble yourself, be patient, whether you take responsibility, whether you're open to learn, grow, and develop. It's got nothing to do with me. It's got something to do with me, whether I humble myself, whether I take responsibility, whether I am patient, whether I'm open to learn, whether I'm open to learn, grow, and develop, whether I'm prepared to develop my iman, my amal, and support a life tayyibun. It's got to do with me. You don't have to debate with me about my experience. I don't have to debate with you about your experience. Allah will show us where we differed. I'm not here to show you, you're not here to show me. Let's not even debate about anything. We can state our views, but let's not debate, because Allah will show us. See, I'm a believer in Allah in the last day. So He says in the Quran, He will show us. I say He'll show us. What must you show me? What must I show you? You get what I mean? I was arrogant too. Allah has been patient with me up until recently, thinking that I'm supposed to show everybody, and I'm supposed to guide everybody, and Satan was whispering to me. But I claim refuge with Allah. And Allah told me, let them who choose to believe, believe. Let them who choose to disbelieve, disbelieve. For the masses, they are ungrateful. They're kafur. And for the masses, it means nothing whether you tell them this. You're only here for your own heart. Satan was trying to tell me, be special, be important. You know the answers. You can help people, help people. Satan was distracting me. You get what I mean? So now I say, forget the people. Rather remember Allah. Instead of forgetting Allah, forget the people. Forget this world. Remember Allah in the last day. Comparably. Of course, the Quran says, remember your portion in this world. Claim your portion in this world. While you're here, live naturally. Live with iman, amal, a life tayyibun. So I'm just sharing with you that not everybody, when you give them the glad tidings, as the glad tidings was given to me, and you tell them about this, these people want to remain the same. They're like, yeah, we hear you. We know about what he tells. So some of you may know about what I teach or what I share, but you don't know what I share. You know about what I share, but you don't know what I share. Until you go through it, you don't know what I'm talking about. You think you know what I'm talking about. You know about what I'm talking about, but you don't know what I'm talking about. You get what I mean? So I'm not to say that you should know what I'm talking about. You can know, you cannot know. It's got nothing to do with me. It's got to do with you. You will face Allah and you will answer. We're all going to answer. So, I'm just so grateful I'm on this path that Allah guided me to focus on Him. I'm guided to focus on Him. And I was willing to take my attention off me, of this world, and focus on Allah. While this guidance was coming to me, I wasn't like, but this world, but it shouldn't be, I'm impatient. I was like, okay, Allah is getting through to me, telling me something more important. Okay, I'll let this be, I'll let it continue to be. Allah is guiding me, showing me something. I want to see that, and what it's really about is about me. Instead of trying to change what's going on, it's about me changing what is in my heart. The Quran says Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in their heart. Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in their heart. See? So I started working on what's in my heart. And I started feeling assurance that, you know what? Allah is responding to me. I can't believe it. Because I didn't know. Because the people, the gurus and the pandits, they'll never tell you that when you say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, La ilaha illallah, it's a personal experience you have directly with Allah. They never tell you that because they want you to believe it's through them. Directly or indirectly, they want you to believe you can't say A'udhu billah, you must say A'udhu bi Guru, A'udhu bi Pandit, A'udhu bi Molana, A'udhu bi Mufti. No, A'udhu billah, A'udhu billah. That we all can have a direct experience with our Creator. That's what Iman is. Allah is hearing us, responding to us. The Quran says we must respond to Allah. That He's closer to us than our own jugular veins. When the believers ask you concerning me, the Prophet was told in the Quran, say I am immediate, I am near, I am right here. Allah is right here with me. I didn't know that. I was like, where's God? I don't see him. Maybe he's next to the sun or further away than the sun, somewhere. People believe that Allah is somewhere because they think he's got a dimensions. Allah is the creator of all realms and all dimensions. Allah has no dimension. Allah is actual. This world is created. Allah is not in this world. Allah is not in the universe. His powers can be seen everywhere. But Allah is beyond. That's what the word beyond is. People don't understand the word beyond. They think it's somewhere far. But beyond is in another level. Beyond the creation is the creator. And so I was listening and choosing to be pleased about the fact that Allah is hearing me and He's responding to me. There's something to feel good about, right? When you start experiencing these miracles, you're like, whoa! Nobody told me that Allah is listening to me. Nobody's told me that Allah is responding to me. Allah always responds to the believer when the believer calls upon Him. Allah always responds. What does the Guru and the Mufti tell you? Allah is not responding because He'll respond in the next life. Whenever He's holding it back from you, He's not answering you now. The Quran says Allah responds to the supplicant when the supplicant calls upon Allah. I called. I said, Allah, I don't know. That was humility. You are there. You know. That's why I tell you, there's no such thing as anybody or anything other than Allah as Alim, the all-knowing, Hakim, the wise. There's no human being that is Alim and Hakim. Did the Prophet ever said, I'm your Alim, I'm your Hakim? Did everybody come to the Prophet and say, I'm your Alim? Did the Prophet call somebody else, said, Abu Bakr, you the Alim now, you the Hakim now? I don't know, you tell me, I doubt it. There's only one who knows. And I turned to that one. And that one responds. And I felt it, and I experienced it, and I held on to it. I held on to the rope that was given to me. I didn't say, no, can't be, who am I, go back to the Guru. Guru, tell me now, what else I must do? He'll tell me, read this, do that. He won't tell me your consciousness. You're not Allah aware. Your heart is diseased. You're not calling upon Allah. You're not claiming refuge with Allah. The Guru will never tell us that. He doesn't know himself. He's in a different movement with his own political agendas. There's a different hell for those type of people. The Quran tells us. It's with the mushriks, with the associators. And it tells us what happens to the people who follow the Gurus. The Gurus and them will be in hell. And the Gurus, the followers will ask the Gurus, we followed you, now we are here, why don't you carry the burden of our horror? Guru will say, I couldn't help myself then, I couldn't help you then, where can I help you now? Because the people say, but we followed you, we put our faith in you, we turned to you, A'udhu bil Guru. No. So when we say A'udhu billah and we have faith in Allah, that Allah, you are the one alone who knows. And I want to find out. You show me. And Allah starts showing you. And He showed me that the world beyond is more important than this world. Now I know a lot of Islamis say, yeah, but we already know about that. Yeah, but you know about that, but you don't know that. You don't believe in that. You say you believe, but you don't. Because that's what it's really about. This world is not about your current, are you married, are you divorced, do you have money, you don't, whatever you think your problem is about. This world is about you remembering Allah, you purifying your heart, you drawing closer to Allah, you exiting the trance, you going beyond your mind and its diseases, your heart and its diseases, you claiming the refuge, you learning, you growing, you developing, you drawing closer to Allah, you exiting how you've lived and who you've been and what you've experienced, you becoming a different person with Iman, a believer, you becoming a different person as an empowered adult with Amal, you becoming a person who's into a life tayyibun, satisfaction orientated in this world, and you're interested in the ecstasy of the world beyond, you're becoming a different person. Now this is the thing that most people don't want to do. I had to become a different person, from a non-believer to a believer, from no amal to amal, from not tayyibun, perverted in so many different ways, to a person who's into healthy living, in more than just physical health, natural living, respectful of myself, other people, and living naturally, gone beyond that darkness of perversion and all that sort of thing, sickness, spiritual sickness and psychological sickness and interpersonal sickness. The Quran says, woe to those who stand in prayer, but their hearts lack the smallest of kindnesses. So, this is my journey. I'm sharing it with you. What a wonderful journey it's been, and it continues. What Allah has revealed to me even this morning. I can't even tell you about it. It's too far ahead for most people listening to this. It's too far ahead for most people. But Allah draws me closer and closer to Him, and it's wonderful. But you must start at the beginning. And that's what I'm sharing with you. This is how it began. This is how it began when I realized it was about me becoming a believer. Me becoming a person with amal. I call a believer, a believer. A person who's secure. A person who's gone beyond insecurity, beyond being a needy beggar, who's now a non-needy person, a person who functions autonomously. You can become a believer if you want to. Allah guided me to become a believer. Allah guided me to amal, a person from being a disempowered addict, living powerlessly as an addict, to an empowered person, which I am now, to some degree, and to live in a way that relates to my future in this world and in my death and beyond, in a way that benefits me there. Allah has guided me how to operate in the world with Him, with me, my body, my life, my potentials and possibilities in this world. Through my death and beyond, Allah has guided me. And I'm doing it. Allah has guided me how to relate to people, who to connect with. Allah tells us in the Quran, when you come across the ignorant people, just make salam. Don't talk anything beyond that. Don't argue with them. Don't try and make them intelligent. Just leave them. I've learned to do these things. I've learned how to live in the world, is what I'm trying to tell you. So a lot of us haven't learned. Nobody guided us to Allah and drawing closer to Allah. Nobody guided us how to live with amal. Nobody guided us to live tayyibun lives and prepare for the akhirah, gentle firdaus, gentle naeem. We haven't had that. Did you ever have parents who actually had iman, that they demonstrated iman in their heart? Not just enough that they said they are believers, but they're not. They were submissive in religion, but did they have iman in their heart? Did they feel secure? Did they tell you about drawing closer to Allah and show you, demonstrate how to draw closer to Allah? Did you have parents who respected themselves, their bodies and their lives, their futures? Did you have parents and teachers and gurus who showed you how to live and respect your body and your life, and how to focus on your good in this world, in the world beyond, and how to receive it? Did you have parents who showed you how to connect with people and live with people at a higher level? The Quran says Allah created us from one soul in two pairs. He put love and compassion in our hearts, that we may take from among ourselves partners to dwell in tranquility with. Did you see your parents with love and compassion for each other? Did you see your parents, demonstrating tranquil living? Did you see it? The Quran says about patience. Did you see your parents patient? Did you see? Well, I didn't. My parents were as good as they could, and they did the best that they could, and that was good enough for me. But there was learning for me to learn beyond what my parents taught me, beyond what the guru taught me. The guru might be well-intentioned. He might not know he's part of some kind of cult and system. He might be thinking he's doing something nice. He might be in a child thinking he's a good boy and all that. But, it's for me to wake up. I'm an adult. It's for me to wake up. It's for me to learn. So I chose to develop iman. I chose to develop amal. I chose to develop life tayyibun. I chose spiritual joy, psychological joyfulness. And I chose experiential enjoyment in this world and afterlife ecstasy. I choose it. And you know what? Allah guided me. Allah guided me. Allah showed me. He brought me people, things and experiences in the physical world to show me and to teach me through them, as He might be bringing me to you to teach you if you want to learn this. But He brought me people, things and experiences, books, all kinds of things, until my heart was clean enough to actually get the guidance from within. I started seeing it in the Quran, seeing it everywhere outside of me. And then my heart was clean enough for the information to come through. And now it comes through from my heart. If you believe in Allah, He guides your heart. You get what I mean? So one of the things that I'm going to focus on next week, so just to tell you where we were last week. Last week I told you that it's more important to focus on Allah than the created world. It's more important to focus on Allah and His power what is given you than the current situation. And I've moved on this week to tell you that in the current situation, you have Allah to help you, but He's going to help you more than the current situation. If you go to somebody and you say, give me a loan for 5 rands, I need to buy, bottle of water or whatever, or 10 rand, if I need to buy a bottle of water. This person says, look, you want your 5 rand or 10 rand, don't worry about that, I'll give you that. But I'm going to give you 1,000,000 rands. Get what I mean? And in that 1,000,000 rands, you're going to get your 5 rands. So when we think, I've got this problem, oh no, help me, Allah will help you. Don't worry about that. But the big issue is to go into Tawheed. The big issue is to release the trance, to claim refuge with Allah, to actually to say A'udhu. The big thing is to realize that you are in a fallen state, your own mind is misleading you, your own heart is misleading you, and there is Allah to turn to. Other people's minds and hearts are misleading them too. You're not alone. We all are in the fallen state. And that Allah is there for us to turn to, and He will guide us if you humble yourself, if you are sincere, if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to take responsibility, if you're willing to grow, then Allah will point out to you that this world is not about what you think is the big thing. This world is about you remembering Him. This world is about you facing Him and being shown the way either to heaven or hell. This world is for your iman, your spiritual development. Not just religious development, but your iman, your security, your amal, your life tayyibun. And so I was guided, will you go beyond who you've been? There's a potential for you to live as a person who is secure, as a believer. Do you want that? Yes. There's beyond who I've been a believer consciousness, beyond a needy beggar consciousness, beyond a denier of Allah, beyond a forgetter of Allah, a rememberer of Allah consciousness. Yes. Do you want to recognize the power of Allah and how loved you are and how Allah is sufficient for you and how you can relate to Allah where He can meet your needs? Do you want to turn to Allah for what only He can do for you? Because the option to that is, I won't turn to Allah for what He can do for me, I'll turn to myself and turn to other people. You get what I mean? No, when you have no iman, you don't know. You don't know, you don't know. You think you know about these things, but you don't know these things. You get what I mean? So there's a way to relate to Allah through spiritual practices. And there's a way to be in this world that Allah gave you the ability to apply yourself powerfully. Do you want that? No, I want this issue to be dealt with. I got this, I don't know what to do. I'm so worried. Well, there's guidance of how to live with iman, amal, a life tayyibun. Do you want it? Yeah, but oh no, this problem. You know what I mean? I was like, yes, teach me. Teach me. If I can become a believer, I want to become a believer. If I can live with amal, I want to live with amal. If I, can live creating a life tayyibun, for it, and I can have a blissful return, I can. And so that's where I committed to learning, growth and development, rather than, I don't want to remain the same, you help me, God, this, that. And then I was shown, what I teach people is what I've been shown. How wonderful. And this is a path of growth. So, what I'm going to focus on next is, and I'm just going to point out to you, is a lot of people will not connect with Allah because they carry a certain shame and guilt that Satan has suggested in that diseased heart. That diseased heart carries shame and guilt. And so a lot of people, and fear, when they turn to Allah, they feel very scared. That keeps them from receiving Allah's compassion and love and mercy. A'udhu takes you to Bismillah, takes you to La ilaha. You understand? So, you may think you understand, but until you get it and you live it, then you understand. So, until then you're grasping. So, when I realize I can't rely on my mind and my own emotions are leading me astray, and I'm going more and more astray, and I turn to Allah, a space was created in my awareness that I can become the potential and a possibility. And I chose that. A transformation would happen. And I had remorse for how I was being, and I repented. I had a change of heart. But a lot of people can't get there because there's this fear, this guilt, this satanic block to recognizing Allah's love and receiving His love. So a lot of people will not turn to Allah because they're scared of Allah and they feel shame and guilt. And a lot of people will turn to themselves or turn to others, for that kind of security that you can't feel with yourself or anybody else. The security that human beings can feel as a believer doesn't come from ourselves and what we do and what we have, nor does it come from anybody else and what they have and what they've given to us. The security with Allah is a security with Allah, and until you become Allah aware, you will not feel that level of security. You'll think you believe, but you don't believe. You'll have beliefs about believing. You'll think about Allah, but you won't remember Allah. You won't actually remember Allah. And so there are these barriers that we want to look at that can hold people back, that did hold me back for a while, but fortunately I was guided to release them. This barrier where we don't want to accept that our problems in life is our failure to remember Allah that has created our problems. And we want to either blame somebody else. No, it's this person's fault, it's that person's fault. We look at other people and we judge them. Or we look at other people, we look down upon them. Or we look at other people, we put them in the pit. Or we look at other people and we put them on the pedestal. This person is going to love me, this person is going to make my life better, I'm going to depend on them. Or we start feeling guilty and bad, we're so bad, or we put ourselves in the pit, or we put ourselves in the pedestal. This is all the perversion that carries on in the world until people submit, until people humble themselves, until people become sincere, until people practice patience, until people stop this reaction of the world, 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 the world. I'm carrying on, same person every day. Until you stop that unconscious, artificial self that I call the phantom self, and stop and listen, it won't really benefit you. So, shukr to Allah who has guided me, and we're going to look at these barriers as we go forward, inshallah. All praise, glory and thanks is due to Allah Almighty's choicest blessings upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukr to Allah.